All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. Tonight, we have the final semifinals game for Division C West coming at you from Rush B and Ginormous Jaegers. These teams battled it out at the end of the season. I actually cast that game. It was a fun match. Ultimately, Rush B was victorious in that match, and Ginormous Jaegers is looking to follow up after their big win last week over Plugwalk, I think is who that was. Crazy series there, and we'll see if we see more of that Ether Walker Li Ming out of Ogle, or if Fatlock can bring in some crazy plays with the tanks. And I lost my notes that I was talking about in Nexus Edge, but you can hear some of that tomorrow on Nexus Edge. Just a quick look at the brackets. So you'll see here that, and it didn't carry over. Oh well. You'll see here that Can't Counterpick Stupid has already made their way into the conference finals, the coastal finals, and whichever team goes through tonight will be meeting them. I believe the teams are all set up and ready to go here. Let me get a ready check. And while they're doing that, let's go ahead and take a look at the maps that we've got tonight once it loads. Maps. Come on, maps. Maybe we're not doing maps tonight. There's the maps. Okay. Our bands were Dragonshire and Sky Temple by Rush B and Ginormous Jaegers in that order. And then we also had Infernal Shrines is going to be the pick tonight, and that's where we're going right now, as the teams are already set up and ready to go. Arrow does have much less hair on his head than you may have expected, yes. For those of you wondering, I've been shaving my head for 13 years now. In fact, almost literally to the day, even. Yeah, you know what, I'll, so Alice is on my co-pilot section there, but, Alpha is small enough that I can hold her up. I'll probably put her up on the screen here when I come back, you know, after the match. So, some interesting, I found my stats here that I was looking at earlier. That doesn't surprise me. The Sylvanas play out of Dominator was, if we had answered Valkymer's question about, you know, people to watch out for, Sylvanas play from Dominator is disgusting. He's got a very high KDA. He's almost never dead. He's been very high impact on that hero. So it's completely understandable why that would be a first ban. Potentially on any map. And of course, Dominator's already saying, how do you reject this? As far as, you know, Fatlock, the thing that I was talking about earlier is that when Fatlock is playing, and this is not a stat that people ever talk about, but I think it's important. When Fatlock is playing Johanna or Stitches, which are two tanks that he plays relatively often, they are, first of all, his KDA, again, very good, you know, 10 plus on Johanna, 16 plus on Stitches, averages around a death per match, but most importantly, 65% of those games where he's playing Johanna, they have a level lead, and Stitches 57%. Those are insane numbers. By comparison, the teams on the east side, just comparing their tank players specifically, hover anywhere from 20 to 25% in most cases. So, and these are his two most played tanks. So it'll be interesting to see what Fatlock picks up tonight and how this goes. It is aerodynamic. Welcome all of my friends in chat. A lot of people that I recognize. Some regen folks out there. I haven't even been mentioning bans. Bans have been happening. So Kael'thas and Sylvanas, Anubrak and Zeratul, all of those pretty solid bans. Kael'thas, another hero that, you know, on Infernal Shrines is just going to cause massive chaos as he brings the fire, spreading it across the skeletal defenders onto players. And in some cases that works out really well. In some cases it doesn't. It, you know, it just depends on who you got. So Johanna, pretty much what I would expect coming out from Fatlock. That's a really solid tank. He plays it well, and when he's on that hero, his team does better. So I expect right out of the gate, this is going to be a tough matchup, especially with that Maiev. You've got the Condemned to pull them in. You've got the Maiev to then tether and get a big, massive tether or a Warden's Cage for the whatever blow-up potential you have from the rest of your team. But then we follow up with the Jaina Diablo. So you got some slows coming out for the Jaina, and the Diablo potentially an Apox. Probably want to set up that route from Deckard with the Jaina route and APOC, I imagine is what they're looking to go with here. And I forgot I need to start putting these details in, or I'm not going to have them up in time. Hanzo ban. So Hanzo is one that can do pretty well on the skeletal defenders as well. Ogle hasn't selected his hero. Now, Zeratul was probably banned specifically because of Ogle. Although his win rate was not amazing on it, it's still a high impact hero that you don't want to give them a chance to increase that win rate. It was good, just not 80% good, right? And the Greymane. So Greymane could cause some pretty significant cleave damage in there with the Maiev, give you some solid dive potential. Let's see, Johanna and Maiev Dominator. I get you, Rek. I get you, buddy. For those of you who don't know, Rek and I went to BlizzCon. I'm gonna say together. We traveled together. We both live in New Jersey, and so got to go with Rek on the flight. And he hit it off with the flight attendant, and she gave him some free Pringles. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So we've got Gul'dan, so really great Shrine Clear, and Rhaegar coming out. So giving them that presumably ancestral to help with the burst potential. He does get that cleanse as well to help counter any potential problems. So Ogle's going to come out with the Raynor and Gambit on that Imperious. Overall, not a bad draft there. They get the slows to help with the Raynor ace in the hole damage. You've got a really good combo between that Diablo Imperious. One charge plus another charge equals somebody dies. That benefits out the ring for Jaina as well. And Arcane will ultimately come up with the Blaze. So which team am I more concerned with? Ginormous Jaegers has a very standard draft. They have a draft that a lot of teams would be happy to play. I think the Deckard is probably the only kind of miscellaneous variable there. But Rush B has a ton of value there. I mean, you get the Blaze stun, you have the Johanna condemn, you have a lot of ways to get value out of that Maiev. I can't remember. I just said that. Tether. There we go. That Maiev tether that really makes it so that you can just spread the damage and follow up with that Gul'dan Fel Flame spam or the Corruption. Probably going the Echoed Corruption. Valk, I'm with you there. So I'm thinking that maybe they wanted to flex around a little bit. And check out over here. We got the 4-year anniversary portraits synergy coming out from Ginormous Jaegers. Yeah, Valk, I think I'm in agreement with you there, but we'll see. Deckard Payne entering into the Nexus. All right, everybody. Welcome to Infernal Shrines. Let's go ahead and get this started. Make sure my overlay is correct. It is. On the blue team, we've got Great Patu on Gul'dan, Dominator on the Maiev, IDK Shrubs on Rhaegar, Fatlock 333 is on Johanna, and Arcane on the Blaze. That's for Rush B. For the red team, Ginormous Jaegers, we've got Ogle the Great playing Raynor, Gambit on Imperious, Nemesis on Jaina, Odd Thought on Deckard Payne, and Dark Knight on the Diablo. good luck to you guys, because everybody's gonna need it in these semifinals to go face off against Can't Counterpick Stupid. Taking a quick look at talents tonight. So again, the ace in the hole, the Fingers Frost for Jaina. I believe that's the Devil's Due. Deckard has not yet selected his level 1, and then of course that percent damage from the Burn the Impure coming out from Imperius. So Rush B already electing to get that early soak. As I mentioned earlier, they want to get these level advantages as quickly as possible. They want to get those talent advantages so they can push that, and that gives them a lot of flexibility on a map that has a ton of merc camps that they can pick up, and also just be ready for those shrines when it's that time. We'll take a look at the top lane here for a moment while we check out these level 1s coming out of Rush B. So we do have the Bonds of Justice for those tethers, which again, not a big surprise, as both teams will move down heading toward their camp, although only one of them actually starts it. We see the Iron Skin upgrade, Hold Your Ground for Johanna, reducing that cooldown, increasing the shield. Very helpful considering the amount of CC coming out from the Jaegers. The additional range and area for the totem, and here they come looking for this invade. And right there we've got the 2-man, I thought it was tether, but Jaina managed to use the wall to not get pulled in by it. And the invade is going to be successful, and Diablo, being a very low health hero early in the game, is going to be the first death. Raynor trying to pick up a little bit more value out of that, but unfortunately just not able to get enough. Last couple of talents, the Unstoppable talent for Blaze, and Echo Corruption for Gul'dan. So one Khazra just sitting down here chilling, taking out this tower, so at some point they need to take care of that, because it'll just go to town. And it looks like with their advantage, with their push in the mid lane, they're going to go ahead and Rush B is going to get started on this bottom wall, and Ogle's going to get caught by the tether off the wall, but he's not going to get killed, at least for now. Raynor being able to pop that adrenaline rush to give him that burst of healing, and a level 4 he has not yet taken his talent, so I won't say what I was going to say. Up in the top lane, Blaze pushing Imperius back a little bit. That is a little bit surprising to me that that Imperius is that passive, but we'll see how that turns out. And Fatlock up here looking to anchor that position, make sure that he can keep track of where the enemy team's coming in, as they will get started on the shrine first. And this is going to be a Mortar Punisher. If you haven't been playing Heroes of the Storm in the last week or so, the Mortar Punisher and the Frozen Punisher were both buffed slightly, and the Arcane Punisher was kind of adjusted, not necessarily buffed or nerfed necessarily, but was adjusted to make him a little bit less valuable early game and similar power as time goes on. Mortar Punisher now does more damage with those bursts. And there's the Blaze stun onto 3 in the back line. Nemesis on Jaina's getting very low, doesn't have enough health to make it, and will go down, but because of that, Johanna very deep, and Diablo finishes that off. But look at this, Rhaegar diving in, finishes it off Diablo, and Maiev right there is also able to pick off the Imperius, and now Raynor's trying to get away, but he's running to the wrong base. And the first Punisher, Mortar Punisher, going over to Rush B in what turned out to be a very dominant fight. 4-0. So they've got no wall here to protect against this Punisher, thanks to that double camp early game. Deckard's out here trying to throw out, get some value out of his roots, that level 1. But Dark Knight not yet stacked, getting stunned and pulled back in by the Maiev there. And very low now, has to keep popping these potions to even just stay in the game at this point. And just like that, the first fort is going to go down in favor of Rush B, and they are now 8-6. They're up a full level and a half at this point, thanks to that push and that Punisher. And even in the top lane, Imperius still just not able to keep up with Blaze. He's almost lost this one tower, and the overall like health and mana, he's still keeping up there. But look at this, Ginormous Jaeger says, hey, we recognize that Blaze is by himself. We need to body block him, keep him busy, and they will get the stun. The Root's trying to go out to keep him going anywhere, and he recognizes he's just gonna die, so he does that. But Rush B is taking this advantage and this disadvantage and turning it into an advantage and pushing in the bot lane. They're gonna get this whole fort for free. And that's where the next Punisher is coming up, and that Punisher is going to be an Arcane Punisher. With this now bottom camp going in, they may even be able to get this wall before the Jaegers are able to get, well, they're going to back off. They weren't able to even get the Fountain in the top lane. So this is a very dominant performance coming out by, well, yes, by Dominator and friends. Looks like they're going to go ahead and start working on their their Khazra camp. And this bottom camp should be able to get killed off without it doing any additional damage. But they're already, look at these towers, they're already, you know, 2/3 and 95% or so. And Rush B says, you know what, we've got level 10s, there's nothing you can do to us, we're gonna take your camp. They've got the Warden's Cage, the Horrified, the Blessed Shield for that setup, the Combustion as well to help set up for the stuns and Warden's Cage, and the Ancestral Healing. So this is a monster comp. They're playing it hyper aggressive, and they are just taking everything for free. In the mid lane, this camp's going to go ahead and get cleared out, so it's not going to get any more damage there. But once again, because they're busy clearing elsewhere and they don't have these level 10 talents yet, Rush B is just taking another fort. And they don't, their minions are just about to run out, but it doesn't matter. They have enough. That Shaman kept the wave behind the fort, and Ginormous Jaegers just had to clear it. They're trying to find any XP they can in this game because Rush B is just taking every single camp and getting the advantage everywhere on this map. If you can't counterpick stupid, or if you're a C East team, watch this, because this is what you're going to be playing against in a week or two if this game and the next game continue going as they are now. And even if they don't, this is still clutch play coming out of Rush B, pushing in to make sure that they get every single advantage. And they will get started. Level 10's coming up here now. The Hyperion coming out from Raynor. The dive in APOC by the Diablo. The ring going out manages to hit Maiev. The sleep gets her as well and also hits Johanna. Maiev will go down thanks to that, but all of Jaegers are getting pulled in by the Warden's Cage that Maiev was able to bring out. But that angelic armament shreds Rhaegar right into the graveyard. And Ginormous Jaegers coming out of this with a big fat 2-0. But they are all so very healthy that even these minions could potentially bring them down, and they can barely do any significant damage to them as both Nemesis and Raynor are looking to back away. But now they had no damage, and so Rush B is coming right back in. Almost brings Jaina down to death. No heroics and low health damage. And here comes the rest of Rush B. Rhaegar's on the way now. 20-20 as Raynar's caught by himself, gets pulled in by Maiev and is now obliterated. And now the advantage going over to Rush B again. 1 kill for nothing with a basically 4-for-4 fight. Ancestral's gonna go out on Johanna, keeping her back in this fight. Gul'dan's just going to town, just draining life, Fel Flaming anywhere he can as they get the pull in on Imperius. He's gonna go down, he dives back in and he dies. There's the stun, the Blaze stun onto Diablo, and here comes a Root. Gonna be able to hit Blaze, keeping him from getting any farther, but Maev's able to throw out the Fan of Knives and finish off that Diablo. He'll be back because he had souls, but now level 13 on tap for Rush B, and they're gonna look for at least the wall, and with this being an Arcane Punisher, and they're down in Imperius, this could be, the way they've been playing this game, this could be a keep. Depending on how quickly Jaegers can kill off this this Punisher. And they're calling for it. They want that keep. They've got a half of a Punisher left. They've got a wave right behind it. The Punisher is just jumping on Diablo, pummeling him so hard. and they're gonna get this keep. And I imagine at this point they'll go ahead and back out. They do have a talent advantage, but they, you know, they don't need to push it at this point. They've got constant catapult pressure in this bot lane now. They are just putting in the work. And even in the top lane, at some point, these catapults, I'm assuming, took out this wall, took out a third of the fort health, even in the top lane. They are just... What's going on here? Well, it looks like we've got now 2 camps being taken. They can see 100% of the Jaegers. They know exactly where they are. They also know that they've got a full talent tier advantage on them, but not just that, 3 levels on them. And Rush B coming in. I don't know if they're going to come all the way in on this. Yeah, I didn't think they would. And then they just got the camp. So now there's little value there. There's nothing left to do on the map. There's 25 seconds here until their camp is up. So they're just going to come up, clean up the top lane, finish off this shaman camp, soak that XP, start working toward that 16. They'll have another wave of XP coming in. And level 13's coming out here now finally for the Jaegers, but they're just so close to 16 that you can't even really push in on Rush B at this point. You've got a whole wave of minions in the bot lane with the Khazra camp and the catapult that has to be dealt with, and by the time they catch it, and look at how much damage Jaina just took just from showing up to that. But 16's now available for Rush B, and they're going to push this advantage. 16 is a high ability tier. It's really only eclipsed by the heroic tiers generally for most heroes. So they get that tower down. The next Punisher is a Frozen Punisher in the mid lane, and Frozen Punishers now shut down structures for 3 seconds with their Frozen Blast. They only have 5 instead of 6, but the area is a little bit larger, and that 3-second shutdown on a fort or the towers can allow your team to use the Gul'dan or the Raynor to really push in on the structures. So don't count the Jaegers out yet. They are getting caught up. They've got their talents that they're working on. Jaina's trying to get her Fingers of Frost. That gives her an extra 10% of critical damage. Diablo's at 38 souls. He's got to get some more to make this work. But he just dives in and pops the APOC, but it's not going to hit anybody. Ring of Frost goes out, manages to hit Rhaegar, but Diablo is so deep, he's taken tons of damage from that Gul'dan. The combustion coming out, and the sleep trying to save him, but the combustion is just enough to finish the job. And now Ancestral going out. Ogle's dead on Raynor. Here's the Maiev cage, and everybody's going down. They have a path to the core in 20 to 30 seconds for everybody. They're at least getting this keep. Jaina's not going to be able to do much, but Johanna goes down because she just didn't have any minions and she was already low health. So now they're going to have to back away from this. I don't think they can keep going, get any more value, but they do have a camp up in the top lane, and the Shrine's active. So now they can get started on this. They'll have Johanna by the time it's up. If you're the Jaegers, you got to clear this camp, get everybody up, and I guess they're not even clearing the camp. They're just giving up that keep because they don't want to lose this shrine. They got to take the uneven fight, 15 to 17 down a talent tier, but they've got to do it with the 5 versus 4 advantage. But Diablo is all by himself going in from a completely different area. Almost dies, but Rhaegar's the one who's going to go down first. But look at that, 100 health on Diablo. If he was any closer, that Fan of Knives from Maiev could have finished the job, but instead Jaina's going to get caught and she'll go down instead. So it's now a 4v4. Imperius is going to go down too now with that stun out of the blaze, and Maiev diving in. No, he pops angelic armaments and stays alive. Throws those swords out, trying to catch somebody in the dust, but just not gonna happen. Level 16's now online for the Jaegers. It's a 4v4 with a Frozen Punisher. And here we have the Hyperion coming out from Raynor. Jump onto the Diablo. Blessed Shield going out onto Diablo and Deckard. And Diablo dives away, hits the APOC, manages to finish off the Maiev thanks to it. The huge dot damage going out onto Diablo, and Arcane trying to get the damage onto the core as the dots once again just obliterating the Jaegers. Oh my goodness, Gul'dan MVP. So much damage. Nobody could keep up with that. and Gul'dan calling out the 3-man kill by himself, going straight for that hat trick. Holy cow, what a game. (18-7). That did not feel like an 18-7 game. It felt like an 18-1 or 2 game. Like, there were only a couple of kills that even felt like they slowed down that monstrous performance coming out of Rush B. And just like I said at the beginning, they got that level advantage early and kept it through the whole game. Is that because of Johanna? Is that because of the comp they can build around her? Who knows? But the reality of it is that when they have Johanna, they have a consistent level lead, and they pushed it hard. So, game number 2 coming up for you soon. We'll be right back as we check in with the teams and find out which map we're going to go to next. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my co-caster for the evening, Alpha, who is not following my my hand movements here. So, game number 1 on Infernal Shrines went over to Rush B, and it was pretty solid. They played an A+ game. So, you know, looking for some value coming out of the Ginormous Jaegers. Gonna have to step it up just a little bit to make this work. So just a quick look here again. So that last game went over to Rush B. The Jaegers selected this map, and it's going to be BOE. So a little bit different setup here. So fully expect a solid performance coming out from Ogle and the gang, as I've seen them play on this map, and they play this quite a bit better than that performance we just saw. So let's check in with the teams here. Whole lot of banter about that that last moment that Johanna had at that keep that kept them from pushing in at that point. Not saying anybody noticed it in the games, but of course they're giving them a little bit of jazz over that. By the way, thank you very much, Rena, my good friend, for the 71 bits, putting you up in first place on the bit list. Who expects a Maiev ban? Maybe. Yeah, quite possibly. All right, here we go into the draft for BOE. Woo! 50 bits for Alpha coming out from Caledorn. What do you think of that, Alpha? Yeah, don't bark. They don't want to hear you. Thank you very much, Cal. That was not Alpha, that was Alice. It is not a live shot, actually. That is a photo that I took of my dog here about a month or so ago. But she's she likes to look out that window when I leave it open. So I do somewhat expect, although the one that's barking now is the one that is in that photo, I do somewhat expect to see that Sylvanas ban again, just because, again, considering that performance, you know, Sylvanas allows them to win even harder, and Dominator plays the Sylvanas really well. So, you know, on a map like this, I just can't see them letting it through. But then again, that Maiev was an absolute menace. So we'll wait and see what they come up with here. But I would be surprised if they let the Sylvanas through. I'm not going to be surprised tonight, at least by that. All right, so your tournament life is on the line. You're in the semifinals. You're going to BOE, a map which is heavily based around the PvE concept of get the immortal and have it do most of that structure damage for you. And the Anubarak ban. Sticking with their tried and true bans from last game. Alden. Yeah, she's pretty good at staying still, but usually it's laying down on the ground. A Cho'Gall, that would be an interesting. I don't know that we'll see a Cho'Gall. Rip HGC. Oh no. And the Greymane. So you know, Greymane is good on the map. He's got great race. But I don't know if it was worth banning him over the Maiev. I mean, her race isn't as great, but if she can do the amount of craziness that she did last game, I don't know.
None shall flee my grasp.
Well, we'll find out soon enough if that was a mistake. Yeah, the loss of HGC is so, it's just so sad. And oh, the HGC emotes, I think I've got one. Let me see if I do. Look at that, baby. So much sadness. So Li Ming, so I didn't want to say it because I didn't want them to ban it out, but Li Ming, Ogle had an absolutely crazy performance on Li Ming on Volskaya Foundry the other day against Plugwalk. it was oppressive. And Li Ming can, especially with Ether Walker, which I fully expect him to take now, Li Ming can just do massive amounts of damage. They took the Artanis for the amateur opponent, so I expect that both of those will be on that Immortal and pushing hard. Let's see, Johanna, Kael'thas. Kael'thas making it into the Nexus. That's a relatively rare pick, it seems like. It seems like it gets banned most of the time. Alaru. Fair enough. I mean, if I remember correctly, Alarak for this team was played primarily by Dominator. So I feel like maybe that's just I don't want to call it a throwaway ban, but I feel like that might just be what it is. But I could be wrong. I checked out Rush B, but certainly not to the extent of knowing exactly every hero that all of them play. Catching up on chat here. Yes, they most certainly did just give them Maiev. Genji, I don't know if we'll see a Genji. Could we get a Genji? Maybe. Not sure who they'd put in the solo lane then. So Garrosh and Raynor. So Nemesis gonna be on the Raynor this time. This is Jimmy. And if you can't see that, that's what they said in chat. I didn't just throw that out there for no reason. So who's their healer going to be? I would not be surprised to see a Tyrande follow up on the Garrosh throws and big damage into the Immortal, but it goes to the other team. So too bad. And Sonya as well on the other side. So who are you gonna pick up? You got no Brightwing and no Tyrande. You have a fairly solid front line. I almost could even see them. Nah, I'm not even gonna say that. Alright, fair enough. So you get the throws and you have a silence to help keep them from going out. That silence could potentially help to lock in that Maiev. But you know, I have to say I'm feeling Rush B on this map. You know, they've got solid team fight, which every team fight that they played except for one last game, I think, they not only won, but they won handily. And that's, you know, you've got a Warden's Cage, you've got the Condemn and Blessed Shield for the setup, you've got the Kael'thas damage, Starfall into that, Sonya doing Whirlwind, Leap could even be a set. Like, there's so many ways for them to set up the Warden's Cage in this that they don't even have to worry about the Immortal, it seems like. They're just going to go straight into the team fighting. So, Stukov, I forgot to change that. All right. Let's update that and get those pop-ups going. So, for Rush B, the #1 seed coming out of C West, we've got Fatlock on the Johanna once again. Great Patu on the Kael'thas. Dominator is going to dominate on the Maiev again, or at least certainly try to. IDK Shrubs on the Tyrande, and Arcane playing the Sonya. And for the Jaegers, we got Gambit doing a dance party top lane on the Artanis. Ogle the Great is going to be on the Li Ming. Dark Knight coming in on the Garrosh, I believe. Odd Thoughts on the Stukov, and Nemesis on the Raynor. I feel like I just missed somebody, but I think I got everybody. Sprays coming out, taunts coming out. This is game 2, and you're down by 1, so look for that. And it is that Aether Walker and the amateur opponent, as I mentioned earlier, the ace in the hole for Raynor, the Warbringer, not Warbringer, the Groundbreaker, Breaker, there we go, Warbreaker. And is it Fetid Touch? Yep. And then the Tether again, Bonds of Justice, the Mana Addict for the Kael'thas, and the the hold your ground for that shield again, especially against the Garrosh. And we've got these auto attack, you know, Elun's chosen to give them the extra healing and Warpaint for that auto attack damage. So Dominator starting it off early, going in on the Li Ming, pulling her back, but she's Li Ming, she teleports away. And Johanna getting thrown by Garrosh, but again, she's Johanna, so she pops her D and just walks out of it. So top lane, Sonya v Artanis. I actually don't know who wins that. I would think Sonya's kind of fallen off, so I'm kind of assuming that that's going to be slightly in favor of Artanis, depending on how they ultimately build each other, but we'll have to wait and see. Once again, more tethers coming out. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. Stay clear of reflections on people's shields. Yep, that's true. Watch out for that blind. And yeah, so we don't get a nano boosted Li Ming. Tether going out onto the Stukov, but just waiting until the last second there, just getting the damage on the return. Odd Thought's gonna get obliterated by the living bomb, thanks to Garrosh spreading it onto him, or at least doing the damage to him. And will be the first blood of the game, and thanks to that advantage, they will now take the bottom camp. Super jump combo gonna hurt. Super jump. That's the Sonya leap, I'm assuming is what you're talking about. Sonya leap with the Maiev tether. Either that or the Artanis with Garrosh. So Valk, I'm not sure which one you're thinking is the super jump, but feel free to shout it out in chat. Tell us what you're thinking there. So Rush B pops this off, maybe a little bit early, but you know what? They don't have the full race comp, so they want to try to get on this Immortal as quickly as possible, especially with the fact that they already have a camp in the bot lane, and Sonya's up there fighting against... Oh, well, here we go. Let's find out who wins this. Artanis trying to stay alive with this, but he's gonna go down. So it looks like Sonya does win that matchup, at least when they're about even and they're low health. So Rush B will get in on this Immortal, as Raynor now coming up here to clear up the top lane, and the rest of the team clearing out the bottom lane. And they will lose halftime. Thanks to that loss of Artanis, they're in a kind of a tough spot. Artanis is kind of floating around here deciding if he wants to go on the camp or not, but they're already so far behind. And yes, Artanis does significant race value damage, but they're behind, and Li Ming shows up. They do manage to get it pretty close. They have the greater race at this point overall, but only if they get everybody there. Only if they have the actual race value there. So Garrosh walking into the Condemn and Tether manages to avoid spreading that bomb this time. And here comes the Immortal. So we do see Sonya bot lane. All 5 of the Jaegers are up top here trying to get this defense. Okay, so you throw in the Maiev, but unfortunately you tethered yourselves all together, and the massive bomb coming out of Kael'thas with the triple kill. And now this is a dead fort. So what did he get at level 7? Did he... Oh, he didn't even take his level 7 yet. Yeah, Sun King's Fury. Not a surprise. Not a big surprise. Kind of expected that when he's just murdering people with bombs left and right. 4 out of 5 of the kills have been bomb kills. And now they're going to start getting damage on this wall. The tether onto the Artanis pulls him on the other side, gets pulled back in again by the Condemn, and now Maiev gets thrown over. She's on the other side of the wall, but there goes the bomb onto Artanis and gets yet another kill, as Maiev will finish the job. But Garrosh is able to get the counter kill, and Li Ming will finish off the Tyrande. Ogle is trying to get whatever value he can, gets that kill onto the Johanna thanks to that Aetherwalker free teleport Calamity, and almost manages to get the Kael'thas as well. I think that if he had maybe even just a little bit more mana, might have considered going in anyways, but the cooldown may not have been back up for Calamity anyways. So now Jaegers looking to try to get some value out of this, these 3 kills that they got in the top lane. Down in bot lane, we've got Artanis clearing up that XP in the bottom and that push that Sonya had put in here. So they did get this whole wall. So quite a lot of value coming out for Rush B. Again, being hyper aggressive with their comp with that Sonya and Maiev, and you know, just throwing it out there, the Kael'thas Li Ming can do some, not Li Ming, Kael'thas Maiev can do some crazy damage when you play those heroes well together. All right, so they're gonna start off by clearing out bot lane, and then head up to the top because they've got a little bit more time for that to make it all the way there. But level 10's now online for Rush B, and this is coming into the Immortal. This is gonna be a tough push in, tough defense for the Jaegers if they don't get at least to the half point on this. But we do see Warden's Cage, the Pyroblast, Shadowstalk, it is the Leap, and the Blessed Shield. And they're already at halftime. So the Jaegers looking to just soak to 10, get that 10 so that they can proc the defense and see how they can try to push back against this team. And they're coming in, questionable fight if you ask me, but she didn't. The throw on Johanna over the wall, she pops her Iron Skin, is able to just slowly walk around, but Maiev in the back lane gets Ogle and Odd Thought, the healer, in the cage, and now Li Ming is gonna get obliterated by the Pyroblast. So in a questionable defense call there, they managed to get 2 of their own people killed. They don't get level 10, and they didn't get any damage on the Immortal. It's not looking good if you're a Ginormous Jaegers fan, folks. I think we see Pyroblast. Yep. I'm honestly a little bit surprised to see the Pyro, but not that surprised. So Sonya's heading up, wants to keep working on getting that soak, working towards 13, keeping that level advantage once again. You know, I mentioned it game 1, they've had the level advantage almost this entire game. And we'll see how they continue on this. So the Hyperion coming out to help with the defense. We do have the Warlord's Challenge taunt for Garrosh. The, sorry, not the Massive Shove. Yeah, that's Massive Shove. Artanis swaps in, but just gets stuck there because of the Iron Skin coming out of Johanna. The big taunt coming out from Garrosh, I don't even think it hit anybody. We do have Wave of Force and the Suppression Pulse coming out from Artanis as well. So Li Ming will dive over that wall to make sure she doesn't get tethered back, and they will go ahead and kill off this Immortal, so they do save their keep. And now, thanks to that top lane Sonya, they're at level 13, the Leap allowing her to get away from Artanis at least. Garrosh trying to see if he can get her, but she just hops over the wall, and here comes Dominator with the big Warden's Cage, triple tether as well. Gets Li Ming obliterated, is trying to make it out, and does! The Tyrande Lunar Flare manages to take out Artanis, and now 2 kills to nothing. They almost had that Li Ming, but just not quite enough. And they've got pressure in the bot lane coming in. They'll have catapults coming in occasionally on this, and Rainer's just trying to be close enough to soak this because he has no idea where anybody on the enemy team is. They could be anywhere. They could be here. Well, they can't be there. You can't see it, but there we go. They could be there as far as he knows. Obviously, they just took their camp in the top. They took this bottom camp, and now they're going to go ahead and come over here for this camp. But there's no vision. They have no idea where any of these people are, and any bush at this point could be a death zone for them. And they're just trying to get caught up on XP, get to the level 13s. And now their camp comes up, and Rush B has been super aggressive. It's not, yeah, they're already posting for the assist here, so Jaegers know they're here, and now they're gonna go ahead and back out. They know they don't have the talent advantage. They don't know how many of them are there. Blessed Shield goes out, hits 3, Lunar Flare onto the Artanis, pulls him back in, but he gets thrown away thanks to the into the fray from Garrosh, as now Garrosh will pull in and taunt the Tyrande. The Calamity comes out, finishes the job from Li Ming, and she is not done yet. She's looking for this Johanna, but ultimately she's not going to be able to get there. She does teleport in on Maiev, and she goes super low as Johanna will manage to finish off that kill. And now a 1-for-1 trade as Li Ming now dying. Tyrande will be back up in 10 seconds. Not much of a timer difference just because of the level difference there. The leap into the back onto Garrosh and Oddthought on the healer. Triple pull again on the tether. Sonya whirlwinding through the whole team, finishes off Stukov as now Artanis manages to catch up and take out Maiev. And here's Garrosh getting a stun, but ultimately Johanna's back and finishes off that Artanis. The Pyroblast chasing down Raynor isn't going to be able to get away. And now essentially a full team wipe with, by the way, 3 camps on core, catapults all over the place, and Li Ming has absolutely no wave clear. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 2 going over to Rush B. As the GGs come out, a decidedly dominant performance from Rush B in both of these games. And I would have to say that maybe that Li Ming, I'm sorry, not Li Ming, that Maiev ban, or the not Maiev ban, may have been the deciding factor there. She was just absolutely on fire that game. Let's see if we can get Dominator in here. So yeah, level what were they, 13 14 I think they were at the end there. That was just absolutely just a crazy performance coming out of Rush B on the Jaegers map, ultimately on BOE, and they said we don't even need to play with you, Immortal, we'll just play against you, and ultimately they managed to pull that off, so good on them. Oh, we've got 2. Is anybody else joining us?
Nope, just us.
Well, welcome. So we've got Dominator and IDK Shrubs in from Rush B. Congratulations on the win, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I have to say that, I mean, that was just a clinic. Like the whole time, it was just absolutely crazy. How are you feeling?
Oh, we are feeling a lot better now that this match is over. We were going in, and I'm not going to lie, Ginormous Jaegers is a good team, and we were sweating going into them. I think that we just played everything really well, really tight. I think we had maybe 5 mistakes that entire game. But it's good to have that pressure let go and know that we're now in the finals for C West.
Absolutely. So I cast your previous matchup with them. I got to cast them last week, so they looked like a really strong team, especially last week. And so, you know, certainly that concern is warranted. And you know what? They didn't get here by being slouches, right? So good on you guys for being prepared and going into it. You know, I think everybody in chat, everybody on this side of the camera was amazed that they let that Maiev through the second game.
We are too.
We were planned for the ban.
Yeah, I was like, all right, what else are we going to pick? Because there's no way they're letting it through twice.
Yeah. And you probably fully expected them to ban Sylvanas, I assume, because obviously you've played Sylvanas very well. Although, I mean, if I'm looking at the 2, like, Maiev play today was basically 100%. So who do you ban at that point, right?
And that's something we've been working on. In previous seasons, we were definitely a couple of one tricks, and once they ban it out, the same thing that we were kind of doing against the Jaegers, banning Zeratul, that was a lot of setup for most of their wombo combos. So you take out one person, and it could really neuter a team's ability to do damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I talked on stream a little bit. I talked a little bit about it in the Nexus Edge, which will be coming out tomorrow. But one of the stats that I was digging around that I found, and I don't know if you guys are necessarily aware of this. I'm sure you're aware at a macro level. But you guys, when Fatlock is playing Johanna or Stitches, have a massive level advantage percentage. On Johanna, prior tonight, by the way, because I'm sure it'll go up after tonight. But Johanna, when he's playing Fatlock, or when Fatlock is playing Johanna, 65% of the game, you guys have a level advantage. And when he's playing Stitches, 57%. So I want to call out your tank player because he averages about 1 death a game, which I'm not gonna shout out too much here, but I'm gonna say that I hope not all of the games are against keeps just shooting in the face. I hope that's not a common theme.
Yeah, Aaron, you gotta be careful talking up his ego like that.
So the funnier thing is, I played healer both games, and we were going against that keep, and he goes, "I need healing," and I was on cooldown for all my heals, and I go, "Okay, give me a bit." And the next thing I know, I look at his health, I see the shot coming, and then he's dead. I'm like, well, guess I don't need to heal anymore.
And ultimately, you get the keep, you go back, you get the shrine, and you win the game thereafter.
Yeah.
So it just ends up being a good meme for you guys to have going forward. But yeah, I did want to call them out because those are just really impressive stats. Obviously, also your Sylvanas and Maya tonight. And you guys, Shrubs, I gotta say, the lunar flares that you had tonight on this second game, I was honestly surprised they didn't take Tyrande in the 3-4 and left it up for you guys, because I think Tyrande would have been fantastic for their team comp. But your lunar flares were like magnetic.
Thank you.
They were where they needed to be when they needed to be every time, it seemed like. So whether there was a CC chain or not, and I really liked your comp the second game, especially the Johanna, Kael'thas, Maiev is a combo, or something similar to that is a combo that I've run a lot with some of the people I play with, and it's just disgusting. As you saw, that Maiev over the wall, triple tether at the beginning, triple kill out of Kael'thas. Like, how high does he have to be right now?
Well, you should have heard our comms when that happened, because I was expecting to be tossed over at least once or twice. I happened to be ready for it that one, and then Kael'thas follows up with the all of his damage. And it's just like, I knew I was going to get out. I didn't think we were going to kill.
It was intense. You guys had some really amazing plays. The Maiev play was on point. Sonya had some great leaps. The one escape from Maiev 2/3 into the game there, you guys were like, I don't know, level 12 or something like that, as Li Ming was chasing you down and Johanna shows up and says, no, not today. Right? You guys played an awesome game. What was your favorite moment from that series?
Well, I think you know my favorite moment, that escape up top into the triple kill.
Fair enough. But which one, right? But yeah.
For me, honestly, just because I didn't expect it to go that way was when we lost our Johanna. Because I was floored by him going, I need healing. I look at my cool bar and I go, okay, give me a bit, and then he's dead. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fun moments in that game, in that match. I really want to give credit to the Jaegers, though. They played a strong game. They kept in it. Most of our games have been ending short, after level 10 or 12, and they kept in. They pushed us to level 16, level 20 in the first game, I think. So hats off to them. They did play well, and I think they had a pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think they got you guys. I don't think you quite got to 20 in that first game, but you were close, like 18 or 19. It was definitely a tough battle for them. You guys were always, especially that first game, like you guys came out with an exclamation mark on that game one, pushing every camp always. If there was a yellow marker on the map, you were there. And when you had advantage in the bot lane, you were pushing top lane, and it was very clear that you guys have practiced these maps. You've done your homework on the timing and really played into their team. Enough that they almost had to be timid. Like, the only player coming out of the Jaegers that I felt like was pushing aggressively was Li Ming in game 2.
Yeah, it's definitely tough when you're playing from behind. We've had a couple of scrims against higher teams over the past couple of weeks, and we've been on that other end of the game where you're trying to climb back and pull ahead from like a 2-level deficit. It's really hard, but I think that's why the early game is so much more important now, and getting those camps and just making sure your rotations are on point and you're always getting value somewhere. I think that's a real key to success in most of these games.
Yeah, for sure. So looking forward, you guys are going to be playing against Can't Counterpick Stupid here in the next week or so. Just at a quick look, Valkyris also, or Valkyris, that's somebody else. Valkymer, I know too many Valks, has a similar priority on the Johanna, but plays a couple of other tanks a little bit. But they also, much similar to what your guys' Johanna play, have a very significant lead advantage when they're playing Johanna. And then also they have a little bit higher priority on the Maiev and Orpheus. So how do you think that's gonna go? Like, who's gonna get the Maiev? Who's gonna get the Johanna? What do you think?
I honestly think it's gonna come down to the first pick and the bans and what maps we're on. Because there are definitely some maps that we would, whether their first pick, where we do not want to deal with that, and we don't think we're going to be able to guarantee get it. So I think they're going to get banned out mostly for the next coming games against them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the next match plays out. I know Can't Counterpick Stupid. They're out for blood. They are definitely looking to get the better of us after our early season showing against them. So all I have to say is be there. You got to watch it, because we just might pull out Juice Pirates again.
Oh my goodness, Juice Pirates! So and looking beyond that, of course, your focus needs to primarily be on CCS, but after that is the East versus West, and West has the number 1 and number 2 teams in the finals. East has the number 1 and number 2 teams in the finals. Are you guys even looking at East at this point at all? Are you watching their games, or are you really just focusing on the on what you've got next week?
We've been keeping tabs on them. We haven't done too much research, just because we want to focus on the matches that are right in front of us. So we'll definitely look into whoever wins on the East side. We'll start doing our digging and finding out which bands are priority, which picks we want. But we've been keeping tabs on them. I think the Found Vikings have a really strong role right now, so I fully expect them to make it into the finals.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong, but that's okay.
Sorry,
Don't worry.
I got to dig it in for you.
All I'm saying is, if you look at our match wins, we had more match wins than they had. We just happened to be behind because of a domination. That's all it is. Yeah.
Don't worry, we tell him he's wrong all the time.
Well, fair enough. There you go. Well, guys, you know what? I don't have any other questions for you this evening, so the floor is yours for any shout-outs, anything you'd like to say to your opponents you just defeated, or to your upcoming matches here in the future.
So some shout-outs to all our team members, especially those who couldn't make it tonight. So, because they've been practicing with us, and we've been having some good games with them. And unfortunately, they couldn't make it. Shoutouts to Ginormous. They, as the healer, they definitely kept me on my toes and keeping the team alive. So that was fun. And next week's gonna be, or the next coming weeks are gonna be fun. I hope everyone has a good lead up to it.
Yeah, thanks to all friends, family, our fans who are watching. Thanks to you, Arrow, for casting us. It's been a blast. Thanks to the Jaegers for having a wonderful game with us. And then I got to make one comment to Balcomer. Just a heads up leading into next week when you play us. You might think that I'm carrying this team, but if you ban me out, don't underestimate the other 4 members who are in with me, because they will wipe the floor with you too.
All right, then. Some heavy words coming out from Dominator in advance of the CCS Rush B match here next week. Guys, thanks for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure casting your match once again, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep. Thank you again for casting.
Good deal. All right, well, so that is going to wrap us up here tonight for Rush B and Ginormous Jaegers. 2-0 in favor of Rush B. which is really just a dominant performance coming out from these teams tonight. And a really exciting match to watch. So, you know, if you missed any point of it, make sure you go back and watch the VODs. I do want to thank everybody for the bits. Rena, Arcane Arboretum, I love saying that name. Rena again, Caledorn, you guys are awesome. Thank you very much for that. Want to shout out to my Regen family. I hate wearing red, but since I'm on the red team, so, you know, look for our match coming up on Friday at 9:00 p.m. And my understanding is that all of the finals games will be on the Nexus Gaming Series page. So regardless of who's going to be casting them, it'll be on the Nexus Gaming Series Twitch. So twitch.tv/Nexus Gaming Series. Make sure to check for Nexus Edge tomorrow. I'm the guest host on that one, so looking forward to all of the things that I said being heavily scrutinized. And what else do we have? I think this wraps it up for tonight. I don't think there are any other matches tonight. This was the last one. So keep an eye on that calendar, nexusgamingseries.org/calendar, for what's coming up on this week of finals and I think semifinals for Div A. Until then, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Alice, who's passed out on the ground, is happy to have said hello to you all earlier, and Alpha, somewhere else around here, says thanks for calling her cute and things like that. And we'll see you all in the next week or so. Have a good night.